really need to have a big bike to have fun on the open road? Well, most bikers would say yes you do, but have those same bikers considered just what's available? Let's compare Suzuki's big brother and little brother, the 1993 GSXR-1100 WP and the RGV 250p. The 1100 is Suzuki's all-time bestseller and the latest in a line of muscle machines that started back in 1986. The 250, on the other hand, is a more recent arrival, a two-stroke baby brother that is closest to its road racing relatives. We went to Donington Park to put both bikes through their paces. We used the full 2.5-mile Grand Prix circuit, so who better than British Grand Prix racers James Hayden and Ron Haslam to try the bikes. Keith Ewan, you've raced at Donington many times. What sort of circuit is it, and what can we expect from the two machines?
Well, Donington Park is a great track. It's very, very smooth, very, very safe, and you can see here now Ron Haslam on the 1100 descending down the best part of the track as far as I'm concerned, Craner curves. And really you get no rest at Donington Park. It's one of those tracks where you carry a lot of corner speed for a long, long way around the track. It's from one side to the other. Hayden there drops into picture at the old hairpin now. And the 250 I would expect to be a lot better through this particular section of the course. It carries, as I say, a 250 will carry more corner speed than the big 1100. Ron Haslam will have his work cut out to stay in front of the youngster around this particular part of the track. The 250 will be more nimble on the brakes, will probably be able to stay on the power through the turns a little bit better than the big wiggly 1100. You can see they're getting a bit of a shake through McLean's up the hill now towards Coppice, but look at that, the 1100 power right up the inside there of Hayden. So the 250 obviously a bit short on horses around a racetrack. But you can expect this part of the track, yes, and again Hayden slides through, round Coppice onto the back straight, but I expect the 1100 will blast past down under the Dunlop Bridge, down towards the S's. But the S's again, the 250 will be very, very nimble here. So Haslam on the brakes at the S's on the Grand Prix course. And yes, indeed, Hayden sneaks up the inside, impetuous as ever. Well, these young riders, you know what they're like, Chris, you just can't hold them back. And really, there's not going to be a lot in it. If these two men got down to it as far as proper lap times are concerned around Donington Park, I wouldn't expect there to be a big difference in it, because basically the 250 has a greater chance to keep his corner speed up, and the 1100 is spending so much time on the brakes or on the accelerator all the way around here. But there again, Haslam's not a man you can hold back often. Up towards Goddard's then, the left-hand hairpin onto the start and finish straight, and Haslam on the 1100 is just in front. No, he's not, so Hayden slides through again on the brakes to complete their first lap of Donington Park. Both of them certainly look as if they're enjoying it. Out towards Redgate, it's the 250 that has consistently led the 1100 round here. This, I have to say, is not a race, and Haslam would be slightly more competitive if it really was, but the 250 does seem to have some advantage round the curves of Donington Park, through Redgate, down Hollywood and on to Craners again, and this is the part of the track that we would expect the 250, even though it's got soft road suspension, to have some advantage over the big 1100. The 1100 is heavy. Haslam will have a problem with the weight of that bike. Remember, this bike is some 7 years old in design nowadays, even though it's been modified year on year. The 250 Grand Prix bike is very much an up-to-the-date, state-of-the-art type of motorcycle suspension-wise. Under Starkey's Bridge then, out towards McLean's, and again the 1100 gets a big charge on with Haslam, holding off Hayden into McLean's. Does he? We wait to see whether Hayden comes back at him, and yes he does. Well, that's what I think of Donington Park, Chris, and really it is a great track for two great bikes.
Well, that is how Keith sees it. What about Grand Prix hero Ron Haslam?
Well, it's been a long while since I've been on a four-stroke, and at Donington Park, my local circuit, it's really nice to get back on one. So I used to do a lot of production racing when I first started, but to get on this, it's they've come on so much now since then, and they're much better to ride, even though they're really heavy compared to a racing bike, but they've got the power to it as well. You know, it's really strong. A little bit hard to get through the chicanes with the weight being so heavy, but barring that, it's really good. The respond-on throttle is very good, carburetors, because that's one thing that you didn't used to get. As soon as you get a road bike and you try to make it go fast, you actually get a real bad respond on the throttle. But this is really smooth, and it lets you put the power down nice and hard. Saying that, it's again, it's a road bike, so when you say nice and hard, you tend to get a bit of a weave and wobble compared to a racing bike. But actually fun to ride, and you know, on the track it's really enjoyment.
British Grand Prix wildcard entry James Hayden has little experience of four-strokes, but he has a lot of racing miles on two-strokes.
It's obviously a lot different to the racing 250, but it handles really nicely, and it's quite a nimble little machine in tight stuff. The suspension is maybe a bit softer on the circuit, but that's obviously because it's set up for the road. The brakes are really good on it, stops nicely, and yeah, it's good. It's good. The acceleration is a bit rich maybe on the bottom, just on the power, but once again it's set up for the road. But it's got quite a nice bit of punch when it comes in, and it pulls quite strongly. I think on a nice tight twisty road you can stick with a lot of the big bikes, because it's so light, you're so able to like move it and put it on the line you want. If you want to pull a bit tighter you can just peel it in a bit more, put it on your knee and just ease a bit tighter. But no, they're a good little bike. I think they're an ideal size for a little